I'm not convinced it ain't no acting or accident what the track emits. You strapped with gas that you ain't even practiced with. The fact is, you couldn't hit the target the size.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentary. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today, we're going to talk about Smackdown, the go-home show to the Royal Rumble. And the Vince McMahon stuff, of course, is dominating the media. By the time this video was uploaded, I probably would have done another video on Vince McMahon. And there's going to be some interesting tidbits because there's so much stuff flying out there. Ought to be some interesting tidbits going on. But we do have some news and notes. One, Kevin Patrick is no longer the voice of SmackDown. He sucked real bad. I'm very glad he got fired. I hate to see people lose their jobs, but he has never been good. He was not good. He was not getting it. I didn't understand. Look, it's not like he was the worst in the world. It's just that he was not good enough for the job. Now they replaced him with Michael Cole tonight. I'm guessing they're going to have to find some kind of replacement, permanent replacement. A lot of people want Mauro Ranallo. Look, Mauro is fine, but he's very high energy, kind of dorky, but I like him. You know, I like Mauro all in all. So I would be good if he was brought back. They certainly could do worse. But my guess is they're probably going to go and dig through some ESPN trash and bring somebody over from ESPN because that seems to be what Nick Khan wants to do. And now I guess he runs the company, I suppose. He's going to be the guy. He's going to just bring in all college football guys and a bunch of stuff like that. So we'll see. Slim Jim pulled their ads from the Royal Rumble. We don't know if they're going to continue ads now that Vince is gone. But I'm not surprised at all that meat sticks don't have balls. And that the Mirror Alley, they have integrity. Slim Jim, who sells you literally salted meat sticks in a package and have sold you that for 30, 40 years. They have integrity. Look, this was the only thing that was going to make Vince retire anyway, quit, is the sponsors, which is, if you follow this channel, you should know that. I've been talking about it for 2 years. When Vince was talking about the difficulties in growing WWE and the company had plateaued and all that crap, he was talking about sponsorships. So here it was again. Sponsorships is why Vince retired, resigned, quit, fired, however, whatever you want to call it. But I don't care about Slim Jim. I haven't had a Slim Jim in ages. I don't eat pork. All right. The last thing I want to talk about is very, very sad to me personally. John Cena in drag. I've seen it again. Apparently there's going to be some stupid movie in which John Cena is going to be wearing women's clothes. And it truly is the end of an era in WWE where, well, I guess Hogan did it with Mr. Nanny or whatever, but this is disgusting. You know, like this is sick shit. But whatever. Let's get into SmackDown. So this guy name is Eladio Caron. He wrote a song called RKO. It features Randy Orton in the song. He's some kind of another Bad Bunny kind of guy where he's like a Hispanic rapper or something. But he's a big fan of Randy Orton. Very nice. Don't know much about him. Don't know anything about him at all. I did hear the song because I saw the video when it was played. Got nothing on Booker T. I can tell you that. That Booker T song was so much better. He introduced Randy Orton. So Randy comes out and he talks, and basically he says that he's the only one who can stop the bloodline. Then we get ye old AJ Styles come out there, say he wanted to fight Solo Sikoa, but Nick Aldis thought that, you know, it was better if it was LA Knight. Says that him and Randy Orton have history, and he got a receipt coming for that RKO he got last week. LA Knight says that he's the only one of the three of them who has a match tonight because he's the biggest threat. And that Heyman is likely behind him having a match. Then when he walked out, AJ Styles attacked Randy Orton from behind, gave him a Pele kick, and that was pretty much it. Jimmy Uso then met AJ Styles backstage and says that if you want to, you know, help yourself, help us. We're going to attack LA Knight. You should join us. The Good Brothers, they showed up. I keep forgetting that they worked there. They wanted to know what's going on. What's the big deal? And AJ Styles told him to basically to shove it. which is humorous because why are they still there if Uncle Allen is not, keeping them a job? He should just stand in the middle of the ring one day and say, "You two bald idiots, I don't want you guys here anymore. Get out of here." Paul Heyman, he's backstage. He says that Solo is supposed to fix the problem. He didn't do that, but he wants him to fix the problem tonight. He just does not want him to be merciful. He then turned his attention to Jimmy Uso and says that Jimmy Uso has an opportunity to be the tribal heir. All he's got to do is win the Royal Rumble and challenge Seth Rollins and take the World Heavyweight Championship. I like this. I wish they had done this sooner. That's my only problem with that is now they're giving Jimmy Uso a reason to be in the Royal Rumble and a reason to really fight is because they're dangling this carrot that he could be in line to be the tribal chief. There's a second world title for you to win. You can win this Rumble and become that. And of course they're going to build his feud with Jay for WrestleMania out of this. I hate that we waited till literally the day before the Royal Rumble for Jimmy Uso, to be motivated in that way. We should have done this weeks ago when they did the whole tribal heir thing. Roman should have put it on both of them. Like, I want one of you guys to be the next tribal heir. One of you guys got to win the Royal Rumble, fight Seth Rollins, win that world championship, bring that world title to the bloodline, and then I will acknowledge you as the tribal heir, the one who could carry the company once I'm gone. Just imagine if they'd have been telling that story this entire time, causing a little bit of schism between Solo and Jimmy. Like, which one of them are going to win the Rumble? Because only one person can win. So it would have been a very good story going into the Rumble. And then, of course, with them having Jay on Raw, and Jay could pretty much pick up on that same vibe. He doesn't need to physically be there. He could just mention it in a promo that, hey, I want to be the World Heavyweight Champion too. I also want to fight Roman again for that Universal title, But I feel like it was a really good story element for the Bloodline that was missed. It's very unfortunate. So this Solo went to bother this Eldio. What is his name? I don't care. And of course, the guy was very respectful, even though he was a super fan of Randy Orton and said that Randy Orton was going to win the Fatal 4-Way. And he was afraid that Solo was going to put his hands on him. Anyway, we get to the main event, which sucked because it was disqualification bait. LA Knight defeats Solo Sikoa by disqualification because AJ Styles attacked LA Knight. Of course, there was a brawl with everybody doing each other's finishers on them. It's very boring at this point, very dull. There's only so many times we could watch people brawl. We've watched people brawl for a month straight, it seems like. That's all Smackdown has been, is guys brawling and people getting hit with finishers at the end of the show. For Christ's sake. Where's the big energy moments, the big promo moments like you get on Raw? Like, where's that stuff for SmackDown? And it's very interesting how heavy Raw is on building contenders who could possibly win the Royal Rumble, while SmackDown has just been building that Fatal 4-Way, and in people saying the same thing over and over again. AJ Styles, you stepped over my dead body. Like, you're literally not dead, you're standing right here, yoked to the gills. You'll be okay. This match literally happens because Randy Orton don't want to take any bumps. Jesus. All right, the match that they announced back in November finally occurred. Santos Escobar versus Carlito. And Santos Escobar wins when Elektra Lopez attacks Zelina Vega from behind, distracts everybody, and Santos Escobar steals a roll-up and wins the match. Not the best match in the world. I was actually surprised at how kind of mid it was. Maybe I'll have to look at it again, but I rarely watch matches twice. I rarely watch shows twice, especially recent shows. TV shows. I watch pay-per-views more than once, but regular television product, not that often. Now, Elektra Lopez joins the new Legado del Fantasma with Humberto and Angel, and I'm perplexed. Why am I perplexed? Not because Elektra Lopez shouldn't be there. I'm perplexed because she's a heel here, She's a babyface in NXT. She literally just turned babyface like last week. So we're supposed to just forget that? Is her feud with Lola Vice over? If you're going to do stuff where you're going to bring NXT talent to the main roster, keep their alignment the same, for Christ's sake. They're doing the same thing with Carmelo Hayes right now. We're going to talk about that in a second. Where Carmelo's a babyface on NXT. He's kind of heel. He's a babyface on SmackDown. He's kind of heelish on NXT, which is his main brand. I'm okay with you bringing these talents up and utilizing them very specifically. And I love that Elektra Lopez probably should not have lost her spot in the Legado del Fantasma in the first place. But Christ on a cracker, what are we supposed to think now? Is she a babyface or is she a heel? It doesn't matter. Does it matter? No, it don't matter. Nick Aldis and Ava Raine, they're backstage watching the Tumbler as guys pick their spots in the Rumble. They do various people, Santos Escobar, Lashley, Jimmy Uso, all that kind of stuff. R-Truth had a little bit of a segment backstage where he thought that Nick Aldis was Adam Pearce and that his hair had grown and had a lot of body. And he also didn't know what he was picking for. It was silly. The Tumblr gimmick is fun. I really would prefer if they did it the same night rather than, we don't know what else to do, we're going to put it on SmackDown. It's like, you could at least done the pre-show where everybody's going to, some people have already declared, let's say, showed up and started picking numbers out of the Royal Rumble. That would be fun because that would be, you could see people's reactions and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it fits on SmackDown. I think it fits the night of the event. So second match on the show, the Kabuki Warriors win the women's tag team titles, defeating Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Everybody knew this was going to happen. The Insane elbow from a standing position. The fan base for Kairi Sane have been very disappointed lately, mainly because she hasn't been wrestling and she hasn't been winning matches. I think they said she lost her first singles match and she lost her first match back and all this kind of stuff. But now she's a champion. Everybody knew that she was going to win this match. I mean, everybody knew that the only reason Kaden Carter and Katana Chance had won the titles was so they could lose it to the Kabuki Warriors. And now it's a good storyline reason because they're still doing the damage control, Bayley's prophecy. And this, of course, leads you to think that, Bayley is Madam Web and she can see into the future and all this kind of stuff now. The idea that Io would be the world champion and the Kabuki Warriors would be the tag team champions. And then Bayley's going to win the Royal Rumble and defeat Rhea Ripley and become the women's world champion. And Damage Control will own all of WWE. It's wonderful. It's a good idea. And then you juxtapose the big idea of Bayley with the fact that Asuka and Kairi kind of ignored Bayley after they won the titles. They kind of stiffed Bayley. They didn't, give her a hug, no high fives, nothing really. But of course, that's the story. The story is that Bayley is the odd person out. She just doesn't know it yet. So Bayley can't win the Women's Royal Rumble. Y'all do realize that, right? If she wins it, then they have to do their story about whether she challenges Rhea Ripley or whether she challenges Io. The story is better if Bayley loses, because then she's the one person who screwed up her own prophecy, and then they'll have a reason to kick her out. And then you could tell the story between now and WrestleMania about her wanting to get revenge on these folks for kicking her out of the group that she founded. And that could be similar to, when Edge was kicked out of Judgment Day, which, oddly enough, wasn't that long ago. So you kind of have a very similar situation right now where, Triple H took over the company and, I think Edge got kicked out of Judgment Day before Triple H took over. So scratch that. But it's a similar parallel, as you can see. I'm fine with Bayley not winning the Royal Rumble. I'm okay with it. It would have been nice if she did. But this is like the year that, people said Chris Jericho should have won the Royal Rumble. And what was that, 2012? That everybody thinks Jericho should have won? Jericho didn't need to win the Royal Rumble. And Bayley doesn't need to win it. It would be prestigious, but it might be something that's a little too prestigious for her position, where her character is probably not served by winning the Royal Rumble. Her character and her sympathy and everything that you want to get for her is better served with her losing. That's the thing. It's better off for Bayley to lose than it is for Bayley to win, if we're being honest. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Next, Lashley and the Street Profits. They are doing the face-to-face with the Final Testament. Scarlett gets in the ring. Lashley and the Street Profits mock Final Testament for having Scarlett be in the ring. Paul Ellering said there's no fear from them. Cross says that they see frustration and desperation in Lashley and the Street Profits, but he understands that things are not going as well as they thought they would because Lashley and the Street Profits don't have any power. Then he says the one thing that is not going to happen is we're not going to fight tonight. Lashley says, oh, yes, we are. And he goes to leave the ring, and he is attacked by Scarlett. Imagine that. Scarlett is all of 5'3", and she attacked Bobby Lashley and was gouging him in the eyes, which allowed Final Testament to get the upper advantage and beat the tar out of Lashley and the Street Profits. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Lashley being disabled by Scarlett. Look, it makes Scarlett look like a killer, but it makes Lashley look terrible. I mean, yes, she jumped on his back and gouged his eyes, which, any woman could do, any person could do. But seriously, Lashley said no to that. He should have been like, nah. Maybe something could have came up with something else, but I don't know. You're getting disabled by a small woman. The Final Testament, they haven't quite gelled yet. It's fine. Cross was handling the crowd very nicely, giving them a response to some of the crap they was giving him. But it's not clicking yet. It needs probably a little bit more time to cook. All right. Austin Theory versus Carmelo Hayes. Austin Theory defeats Carmelo Hayes. After the match, Grayson Waller attacked Carmelo Hayes from behind, which led to Trick Williams making the save and a huge whoop that trick chant, which did my poor little heart proud. My goodness. Trick Williams, great job. They're doing a great job with this kid. Now, they are in Florida, so that would explain why he got such a big reaction and the whoop that trick chant. But I don't care. I do not care. This was very good. Very good job. And they continued their story because Carmelo Hayes was wondering, through body language, what are you doing here? What's going on? And Trick was like, I got your back. I got your back. And it's going to clearly play into the story. And they utilized that time to support NXT by saying, hey, these guys are going to wrestle on NXT. They're going to wrestle the LWO Tuesday. Okay, good. They did a spot where Kevin Owens and Logan Paul brawled in the PC where Logan Paul threw a water bottle at Kevin Owens. Maybe if it was a cheeseburger, he wouldn't have got so mad. It was a interesting thing. This was going on right around the time that the Vince story broke. They uploaded this kayfabe angle, so it kind of went under the radar. Also went under the radar is apparently Logan Paul's contract got renewed. So he says that it's going to be his full-time job now. Brother, I don't believe that. You got hundreds of businesses to run and all that kind of shit. I don't think you're going to wrestle full-time. I mean, if you're wrestling full-time, on the road defending your championship, who's going to scam all these innocent teenagers out here? If you're doing all this stuff, who's going to drink your piss water? How are you going to promote your piss drink? The most impressive thing is from this Logan Paul this week was now that The Rock is on the board of directors at TKO and Logan Paul apparently is going to wrestle full time, so he's not going to treat this as a hobby anymore. He had time to reflect on his falling out with The Rock, which I actually forgot about. And he had John Cena on his show, and I will be doing a video about a specific part of John Cena's visit with Logan Paul, where he gave him some really good advice. and explain some things that I've really been talking. I started this channel talking about that kind of stuff. I kind of veered away from it, but we're going to get back to the heart of the channel when we talk about that. But Logan Paul wanted to talk about how to fix things with The Rock, because now The Rock is on the board of TKO. Technically, is Logan Paul's boss, and he wants to know what's going on, because he says Dwayne is his idol. You know, he was his hero to the highest degree. He wanted to be like Dwayne. He says we made content together, went mega viral, 70 million views. Because I would have considered us acquaintances. And then the stuff in Japan happened. I'm skipping through it. I'm not reading it verbatim. And then he says, I let myself down. I knew I let my fans down. I knew I let my family down, but my idol too. Man, it stung so bad. And it wasn't like I got the call from him. You know? So he was very hurt by this whole thing. And it was pretty funny. You know, he was very emotional about this thing. Oh, so he's such a sweetie pop. He's get out of here. Stop it. You're talking about I hate myself. Look, man, just relax. It's going to be okay. So he goes on with this crap about how he let his hero down. And John Cena's right there. You know, and John Cena decides to big brother him. Like, this was tremendous. Okay? This is tremendous. John Cena turned into a therapist for Logan Paul to fix his relationship with The Rock. So they start talking about forgiveness. And John Cena gives him, you know, not a lecture, but kind of mini lecture on forgiveness. And he says he wants Logan Paul to forgive The Rock for breaking ties with him. He says, what I'm hearing is you made a poor decision. You had to be held accountable for that poor decision. You are not alone. We've all done that. In the process, you were very hurt by someone you cared about. You understand it might not have been impactful for him as it was for you, but it really got to you. I'm not right or wrong. It's just my 2 cents. Take it or throw it back. I think it starts with your ability to forgive him. If you can forgive yourself, if you can get yourself, to a place where you can honestly say, I forgive, then I think you can begin the foundation to move forward. I'm not saying forgetfulness and forgetfulness are two different things. If you can bring yourself to a position where you can forgive someone, you can begin to move forward. He says forgiveness is on your own terms, because he's talking about Logan Paul says like he can't have a conversation with The Rock, mainly because he can't get in contact with him probably. And so Cena continues to big brother him and says, I applaud you for being able to share all of this, because that's deep work. I think you're starting there. I was wrecked because I let you down. I don't mean to minimize Dwayne's role in the situation, but let's take him and substitute your dad or someone else you look up to. You being able to find strength to say, I know I let you down and that gutted me. That's okay. Oh my goodness. John Cena. Cross-dressing, and now he's a therapist. This is really good advice, though. This is really good advice. Because this is not about, how do I get The Rock to answer my phone calls again? It's about The Rock made a business decision. It hurt me personally. How can I stop being hurt by that? How can I get over that? Because now you guys not work together, but you guys are going to have some time together. You can't hold on to the bitterness of, he abandoned me. He let me down. And look, the one of the craziest things that I grew up believing is that forgiveness is weak. That's one of the weirdest things. And it's especially now that I'm older, I will say it is very odd that people hold on to bitterness for so long. They hold grudges for so long, when it's so much easier to just let things go. Not saying, again, just like Cena said, not saying forget. I'm saying forgive. I mean, saying that you have to understand, in order to truly, I think, forgive someone, you have to understand their perspective, and you have to forgive them even without sometimes an apology. and that's a tough thing to do. And Logan Paul can't go on his podcast and demand that The Rock apologize to him for, or whatever, or because again, The Rock made a decision based off of what Logan Paul had done. He made himself untenable. He made himself somebody that The Rock couldn't be around. So The Rock made a decision. And yes, that's hurtful. Yes, it sucks that your hero does not look at you the same way anymore. But like Cena said, replace that with your father or somebody else that you care about, and understand that sometimes you have to be the one to let that go. Maybe he doesn't feel as strongly about it as you do. So you have to be the one to let it go, because you're the one carrying it. Like he's talking about how much he hates himself and all this kind of stuff. You're the one carrying all that crap. So you're the one that's got to let it go. And so maybe no apology is coming. Maybe an apology is not coming. You still have to be the one to let it go, because you're the one carrying the weight. And I've learned that, man, I cannot believe how vindictive and vengeful I was as a kid. Because I always believed that if somebody got over on you, you had to get something back. And then I got older and was like, man, just thinking about all this crap that's carrying you down. You don't have to carry that shit. You can let that shit go. You can let it go. You can put it down. You just say, look, I understand. And there's some things you're probably just never going to be able to forgive. I mean, that happens too. There's some things you can't put down. But a lot of things you can. Not being able to have a conversation with somebody that you considered a hero, that could be tough. But you could appreciate the time that you guys did have together. There's pictures of Logan Paul and The Rock all over social media. I'm sure that meant something to him at a time. And he had those moments, and The Rock, generously gave his time and also took it away, which is what people can do. People can give you time and they can take time away. You have to be able to forgive them for doing that, because it hurts you, but it probably only hurts you. All right. Enough about that. How did I get on that? Ugh. That's one of those things where your mama like, you got the spirit on you. Let's do Royal Rumble predictions. So everybody, this is going to be a bonus segment, because I'm going to put it in the description or something, but let's do Royal Rumble predictions. Okie dokie, let's get into the Royal Rumble. It's a very short show. It's only 4 matches, which means these Royal Rumble matches are probably going to be long as hell. The matches are an hour a piece, so that's 2 hours of the show. They're probably going to add something here in the middle as well. But I'm surprised there's no Intercontinental Championship match, even though they decided to bump that to Monday. There's no Tag Team Championship match. I thought maybe they would add Lashley in the Final Testament to this thing, which means that probably Lashley would have worked twice on this show, but they just keep it at 4, which is okay, I guess. But they got a U.S. title match on here, and they got a Universal title match on here, so okay. Match 1, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that Kevin Owens is not winning this match. Bubba Ray Owens, Bam Bam Owens, Tugboat Owens, Earthquake Owens, Eddie Owens Kingston. This guy, chubby fella, not necessarily going to be the guy who's going to win the United States Championship. They're going to find some way to screw him over. Probably have one of Logan Paul's goons cost him the match. Or maybe Kevin Owens' WrestleMania opponent will cost him the match. But it's almost certain that Logan Paul is going to win this match. It's not really up for debate. So the idea that it's going to be a big surprise here, I don't think so. The Fatal 4-Way match, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton versus AJ Styles versus LA Knight. I think this is also very obvious. Roman Reigns is going to win this match. I really don't see anybody else marching into WrestleMania with this championship. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that, LA Knight can win this match. I hate Fatal 4-Ways. I hate triple threat matches. And I've been saying for like the last 3 weeks, this match literally only exists so Roman and Randy Orton don't have to take bumps. So expect both of them to take a nap during this match and for this match to be unseasonably long. This match is probably going to be almost 40 minutes. If they have to fill 3 hours of the show, and 2 of it's going to be the Royal Rumble, so that means these other 2 matches are going to be pretty lengthy. And I'm guessing this Roman Reigns match is going to be at least 30 minutes, which it doesn't need to be. But Roman Reigns is going to win. The women's Royal Rumble match, 30-woman over-the-top rope battle royale. So there's a lot of talk, a lot of chatter. I mentioned early that Bayley is the favorite going into this Royal Rumble match. But Bayley doesn't need to win it. In fact, the story is better served if Bayley doesn't win. Then she is a failure. She gets more sympathy. And she can move forward as a stronger babyface. I think if you really want to screw Bayley over, you have a member of Damage Control throw her out of the ring. Maybe Asuka. Maybe Asuka throws her out of the ring. Or maybe you have Damage Control be the reason she loses. Or whatever. I think that would be the better way to tell the story, is that Bayley doesn't need to win. So I'm not going to pick Bayley to win. Bianca Belair, she's a favorite. I think Bianca versus Rhea is money. But Bianca Belair doesn't need to win. Becky Lynch is, I think, the favorite outside of Bayley. I think Becky Lynch is the favorite to win. And I think that's the safe option, is to say Becky Lynch. But just like Bayley, Becky Lynch doesn't really need to win. So we're in a situation where we're saying, like before, I did a bit of an early prediction show where I said perhaps somebody who is not currently on the roster would wrestle Io Sky at WrestleMania. And since Becky Lynch doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble to wrestle Rhea Ripley because they're on the same brand, Bayley also doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble to wrestle Io Sky because they're on the same brand. But those are 2 of the best options. Because the story already exists between Bayley and Io. So it doesn't make sense for somebody to win the Royal Rumble and then challenge Io. It doesn't make sense for Becky Lynch to win. And then she's not going to challenge Io. She's already said she's challenging Rhea Ripley. But does Becky Lynch need to win the Royal Rumble to challenge Rhea Ripley? No. But something tells me they're going to do that anyway. So I'm going to go with the answer of Becky Lynch is going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, in terms of surprises, I do think Jade Cargill will be in the Royal Rumble. A lot of people are rip-roaring and running about in terms of will Sasha Banks make her appearance. There's people saying, well, she's already signed to AEW. Apparently, some WWE spokesperson said we don't want a contract tamper, which we don't know where she's going to be until she's in the ring. Tony Khan is on the internet celebrating, saying 2024 AEW is going to be like 2021 AEW, which means he's going to bring in a lot of WWE guys who won't move the needle whatsoever. I said before, I say it again, Sasha Banks is a wonderful performer. She's phenomenal. She's really good. And when she's on top of her game, she's one of the best. But since her ego took over, and I think it might have been 2018, her character work has not been very strong. She's still a great in-ring wrestler, but her ego has been out of control. She's a good to have, maybe even great to have, but not in WWE. I think she could do wonders in AEW, but in WWE, she's a megastar among the girls, but we cannot have a glut of female talent in WWE. And it would be nice to have Sasha Banks, but I don't think it's a must-have. I think for AEW, she's a must-have. And if she doesn't show up in this Royal Rumble match, then she's not coming to WWE. Now, some people have suggested that she's going to actually debut during Rampage while everybody's talking about the Royal Rumble, but I don't think it'll matter that much. If she does debut while the Royal Rumble is going on, people are still going to talk about the Royal Rumble. So it's not like, it's going to matter. It may hit people a little bit harder later, but I don't expect Collision's numbers to do that great. But they need it. They need her. They need the energy, because the energy that they have for these Collisions and these Dynamites are piss poor. So they need Sasha Veronado, whatever they're calling her now. Now, in terms of surprises for the girls, I would like to see Victoria. I would love to see Victoria be brought back. I would love to see Mickie James be brought in. I'm pretty sure I would love to see the return of Trish Stratus. Maybe Alundra Blaze. I know that she hasn't been around in a long time. She's like 60, I think. But they have no problem bringing in older female wrestlers. I would love it if they brought in like Bull Nakano or something like that too. That would be great. I think realistically, you'll probably get some of the women from the Divas era. You'll probably get Melina again. Maybe Candice Michelle. Some of the people you haven't seen in a while. Maybe Layla. That would be nice. A lot of people are putting a lot of stock into AJ Lee appearing, but because she was in the ring at one point during a training session or something or other. But she said she took her boots off, rolled around with Phil, and then she put her boots back on. She took her boots back off. I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of AJ Lee. She could talk at a time where the other women couldn't talk. She had a personality when most of them were just Barbies. And I think that gives people the wrong idea that she was like some kind of phenomenal women's wrestler, when she was basically just somebody who stood out. And then they used her a lot too, in terms of, her being a general manager, then her being in stories with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and the McMahons and the Bellas, and they put her in really prime positions to succeed. So a lot of women taking the idea that AJ Lee is something special. Yeah, I can see that. But I didn't really care about her when she was there. I didn't see the big deal. I didn't see the big deal. Clearly Naomi's going to make a return here. For some people, they think Naomi should win the Royal Rumble. I don't think so. I don't think she needs to. She's established. Yes, you want to get her back in the mix, but I don't think you would do it this way. I think Naomi would be a great opponent for Jade Cargill, or a great tag team partner, however you wanted to do it. Depending on what direction you want to go in. If Bianca Belair is going to continue her forever feud with Damage Control, then I suppose you could either team up Naomi with Bianca, or you could team up Jade Cargill with Bianca. And that could work. But I think Becky Lynch is probably the favorite for the Women's Royal Rumble. I can't think of any other person. If it's Bayley, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be mad if it was Bayley. I would be kind of disappointed that they would basically tell you that it's Bayley and then just go through with that. Usually when they build, it's a red herring, And that's basically to get you to believe this person is going to win, and then whoop, they swerve you at the last minute, which is what I prefer. I prefer a swerve than being told. I'm not saying like swerve and Xavier Woods wins Royal Rumble. No, that's not what I mean. I mean a swerve as in somebody where it makes sense. They could use the win. It helps their career. And, it puts them in a prime position. I think Becky Lynch is the favorite. I think Becky Lynch is going over. She probably shouldn't. If it were me, it'd probably be Tiffany Stratton or somebody like that. Because, hell, just imagine somebody wins the Royal Rumble from NXT and she's the first one ever. And it would really, look at the work she's done with Becky Lynch. She's clearly on that level. And for having her come out of literally the woodwork and win the Royal Rumble as a rookie from NXT, that could send her right into the stratosphere. But you don't have an opponent for her. And then you don't want to, strap the rocket to her too strongly. She can't wrestle Rhea Ripley and win. even though she probably could physically handle the Rhea Ripley match. You know, the Io Sky match has so many months of story packed into it that you can't screw that up. And of course, she's not going to wrestle for the NXT Women's title at the Royal WrestleMania. You got to be kidding me. So there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't do that. But for me, if I was the booker, that would definitely be like one of my front runners, as I would Tiffany Stratton, because she's been so good and she's been such a natural in the ring. And there's no reason why you shouldn't put her on in this match and have her win it. But they're not going to do that. They're probably going to continue whatever storyline she's doing in NXT. So I'm going to go with Becky Lynch, even though I don't want to. Now, the men's Royal Rumble match, they have done a tremendous job with this, with the Cody and the Punk and Gunther. Seth Rollins being injured supposedly changed some plans, even though nobody knows what exact plans were changed or why. So we'll get around to figuring that part out, but I do not think it's going to be Gunther, which a lot of people believe now that Gunther is going to win the Royal Rumble because he said he's going to win it. It's like everybody says they're going to win the Royal Rumble. You know, like everybody says that. So now the argument is about whether The Rock wants to wrestle or not. Is The Rock going to win the Royal Rumble? Which is possible, believe it or not. Maybe The Rock comes in at 28. It's Rock, Cody, and Punk at the end. You know, and The Rock eliminates both of them and gets the match and challenges Roman Reigns. Perhaps that's the case. I don't see that being the case, but perhaps that's the case. I don't think Cody needs to win the Royal Rumble again. I don't think CM Punk needs to win the Royal Rumble. But they have pretty much stood on business when it comes to either Punk's winning it or Cody's winning it. I don't think that there's going to be a third Swerve in this LA Knight or somebody like that, which it probably would be better if it was. You know, it probably would be better if it was a guy like LA Knight who's looking to break through. And, hey, wouldn't it be nice if the guy who's, 40 already, got the rocket strapped to him, so we don't have time to put him in the microwave. We don't have to have time to let him simmer on the boil. Put him in the Rumble, have him win it. People will believe it. People will get behind it. Have him wrestle Rollins and win. You know, that's what you could do. But I think that the company has already sunk cost into Rollins and Punk. They started building that story immediately after Survivor Series. And usually Survivor Series lets you know where WrestleMania is going. You know, usually the big four are some way linked. You know, so CM Punk returned at Survivor Series in Chicago. Rollins flipped out, gave Punk the finger. I think that was our WrestleMania match right there. So I'm going to go with your boy Phillip Brooks to win the Royal Rumble. CM Punk is going to eliminate Cody Rhodes at the very end. Cody's going to get another sad meme where he's going to sit on the floor, dejected, not finishing the story. And then he's going to do something drastic to get the match with Roman Reigns. Trade himself to Smackdown or something like that. Declare himself a free agent. You know, trick Adam Pearce into firing him from Monday Night Raw. And then going over to Smackdown via Nick Aldis, wiggling his way into the Elimination Chamber just to get this match with Roman. And I think that would be nice. Like, wouldn't it be cool if he pulled like a Jeff Hardy where he did something that was so horrible that Adam Pearce is like, Cody, you're fired. You know, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm canceling your Monday Night Raw contract. And then Nick Aldis picks it up. I'm going to give you a SmackDown contract. Well, now Cody's on SmackDown. And, you know, you can have Punk and Rollins on Raw, and you can move Cody to SmackDown, and Cody can wrestle Roman. I like that idea. Now, in terms of surprises, it's always hard to pick the surprises when it comes to the men's Royal Rumble. They've been teasing Hulk Hogan, and the idea that he may come in at number 30. it's kind of ludicrous, bro. Like, he can barely stand, you know. Like, I don't think that he's going to win the Royal Rumble, or I'm sorry, not win it, but be in it. He's certainly not going to win it if he is in it. You know, would it be a moment? No, because you've already told us 100 times that Hogan might be in it. If it was a complete surprise out of nowhere, then people might get a very good reaction out of it, but we'll see. It's hard to pick the men's because they've been doing surprises all year when it comes to guys like Carlito. But I would love it if it was Mr. Kennedy. That would be tremendous. I obviously want Braun Breaker in there. You know, I think he deserves it. Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov definitely deserve it too. They've been workhorses in NXT. No, they shouldn't win. Maybe Braun should win. You know, like, he's the closest one to NXT where I could say, you know, call him up, have him win the Rumble. He would be the male version of Tiffany Stratton, where I would not complain if you decided to just put the rocket to him. I wouldn't complain about that. That being said, however, it's not going to happen. So I guess a surprise for me would be Big E. I think Big E is going to make a return. They've been downplaying it. Big E's been downplaying it. And I think the more people downplay it, the more likely it is. You know, he is, I think, 100% healed now, or as 100% as he can be. I don't think he's going to wrestle full time. If I was him, I would just retire. You know, that's just me personally. I probably would just retire. But I think for the moment of having him come out there, it would be nice. Even if he just got clotheslined over the top rope like 5 or 6 minutes later, that would be nice. You know, I don't expect him to last forever. You know, so that would be cool. In terms of other surprises, X-Pac says he's not going to be in it, but that's also minimizing your appearance in the Rumble is one of the red flags of you being in the Rumble. The moment you say, "Oh, I'm not going to be there," that is kind of a red flag that you might be there. Because most of the time, if people are not going to be there, they just don't say anything. You know, they just say nothing. They want the intrigue to exist, so they might get invited. So 9 times out of 10, it might already be. But it would be nice if it was like Rob Van Dam, you know, because WrestleMania is going to be in Philadelphia. Would be very cool if Rob Van Dam was offered a spot in the Royal Rumble to make a surprise entrance. That would be great. I'll pop for that. I'll pop for pretty much, I wouldn't say every ECW guy, but quite a few of them. I think I would be Sabu, who I know is on his last run. I think he said he's retiring this year. I would pop for that. Sandman, I would pop for him. I can't really think of anybody else. It'd be probably more of those Ruthless Aggression era guys. Chris Masters. You know, I know Chris Masters he's a free agent now. He put out a video not too long ago where he says he wants another shot at WWE and he wants a shot in AEW, and he's even willing to work Impact or TNA. And I'm actually surprised TNA hasn't picked him up yet. He's a guy who could work in TNA. Why he hasn't, I don't think he's been there before. In the comment section, you guys probably know better than me. Has Chris Adonis, ever worked in TNA? Is he like one of the few WWE guys who were fired and never went to TNA? That would be interesting if he was, because I would want to know why. You know? With AEW existing, a lot of the guys are taken out of the pool. Like, Johnny Nitro. He's not going to be there. They're teasing Sean Spears, and I'd probably vomit if it was Sean Spears. Ty Dillinger makes the Royal Rumble. I'd probably puke. Braun Strowman. I can see Braun Strowman. He had neck surgery. I don't know how long ago that was, but he should be back by now. I don't know how long ago it was. So there should be some fun entrances. I'm just thinking of, wouldn't it be great if like Taka Michinoku was in the Royal Rumble? Like somebody that's incredibly obscure, but you would know them if you saw them. I don't mean like Kenzo Suzuki or something like that, where people be like, what? Why is Mordecai in the Royal Rumble? I mean like Gangrel. You know, somebody like Gangrel in the Royal Rumble will be excellent. That would be fantastic. You know, I'd pop huge if it was like Gangrel. You know, so that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a guy like Gangrel. I'm hoping for, you know, a Taka Michinoku. I'm hoping for somebody on like that tier where they're like a solid mid-carder that you haven't seen in a long time. Mr. Kennedy. I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. Mr. Kennedy, he wrestled Umaga's son recently. And I didn't know that Mr. Kennedy not only had Eddie Guerrero's last match, he had Umaga's last WWE match too. And now he's wrestling Umaga's son on the Indies. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. So I got CM Punk for the men, Becky Lynch for the women. Roman Reigns wins the Fatal 4-Way. Logan Paul remains the United States champion. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't throw another match on here, but I don't know what it would be. I would probably do like an NXT showcase or something like that. Why they don't do NXT showcase matches on the pre-show or something? To me, that would be like the best way to utilize NXT. I'm not saying put the title on the line or anything like that, but that's just like something that I came up with. Like, bring some talent. Like they already work dark matches, like main event and stuff, right? So they need some reps. There's already people in the building. It's a stadium. Build a match from NXT TV, or do what they did for Halftime Heat, where it's like an 8-man tag. It's real hot. It's not that long. Let a couple people do an entrance, or the girls or whatever. They come in there, they work, they get pops, they leave. 10 minutes tops. NXT showcase for the kickoff show. Why not? And then get these people in front of fans. That could work. I should work for WWE. But then again, maybe not. Maybe not, brother. Not after they treated Vinnie Mac. All right. Let me know what you guys think. I am looking forward to your Royal Rumble predictions in the comment section below. Again, I thank everybody for helping me through my tough time. Even if you just listen to the show, hit the like button, and I'll talk to you guys later.